Hey guys, Analog Man here again for another deck profile, and this time we're actually trying something different. As you can see, a lot of my deck profiles recently have been based around a lot of the cyborgs, in all the other different hybrid decks. But I actually recently discovered this deck, and it's actually really crazy. It reminds me a lot of my D Brigade deck profile that I put out like a month or two ago. It's essentially kind of like a rush deck, but at the same time, it also has a lot more um, potential actually because with D Brigade, we already have basically everything that's in the D Brigade lore. Essentially, we have the level 6. We don't have a level 7 for them, but at the same time, everything else is already out. While this deck actually still has potential to have more support later on, especially because this deck, as you can see from the title, is DarkKnightmon, which will most likely be getting support in set 10 because set 10 is Cross Wars themed. So potentially we might finally get a level 6, a level 7, and even more option cards or little level 4s and 3s that we can use to boost the deck. But for now, this is essentially how the deck should. I'm not saying it should be, but it's how I've been running the deck. And it works pretty well because it honestly, as I said, it's like D Brigade, where no matter what, you have a consistent board, and with certain option cards, you can maintain that board continuously, and it's pretty sweet actually. Let's actually get into the deck profile so I can actually show you how it is. So first of all, since this is a black color deck, we are running 4 Pagumons. Pagumon's still MVP in black because I mean, the fact that if your guy dies, which most likely will happen, especially in this format, you will be guaranteed to essentially search and maybe add a Black Digimon to hand, and then you can maybe set up another rookie next turn, so it's really nice. I would be running a fifth egg, but I feel that for consistency purposes, having this at 4 should be the best possible option. So I'm keeping it at 4 and, just seeing how it goes. Yeah, that's all the eggs we run. Then for level 3s, we run a bit. We run the 4 of the new Monitamon. Monitamon, for anybody that doesn't know what it does, on play it reveals the top 3 cards, and then you can add 1 card with Knightmon in its name or Deadly Axemon to your hand, and then you bottom deck the rest. This guy is really cool because he's essentially the searcher for the deck, and he is not too bad to play as well. He's a 3 cost. It does kind of suck that he can only grab one or the other, but there's another card that basically kind of covers that you'll see in the level 4s. So this guy is just kind of like your basic searcher. He's kind of like the Bokomon of the group, but not as powerful, but he's still pretty decent. Then we run 4 of the old Monitamon from BT5. This guy's pretty cool because on play you get to just look at the top card of your deck. You don't have to reveal it, which is really cool, which kind of goes with like the artwork where he's kind of like a ninja, and he's like spying on people. Essentially, you do the on play to check, and then after that, potentially you could play this to kind of search through it even more. And then on deletion, you can reveal the top 3 cards and add another Monitamon. So if we can get maybe one more Monitamon in BT10, this could actually become really good because you can essentially Monita rush while you make your Skull Knightmon and or Axemon to kind of make into DarkKnightmon and start rushing even more. So essentially you have like 2 plans for rush while you also have searching, which is really nice. Yep, then we have these. Then, of course, we run 4 Chikurimon, because Chikurimon is really cool, especially if it's in security and your opponent runs into it. Their guy gets de-digivolved, and you could potentially kind of stop a lot of plays with that. So, really nice. Then we run 3 Hagurumon because it's a 2-cost drop, and it's really useful for essentially setting up for next turn for an evolution, especially in this deck since essentially you're relying on getting a Skull Knightmon or a Deadly Axemon. You want to evolve on top of this and then just kind of swing in. Yeah, that's all the rookies we run. We run about, let's see, that's 12, 15 rookies. It's not a full-on like rookie rush deck, but it is pretty close. So we have to run at least a certain amount of rookies for it to work. Let's get into the level 4s. For the level 4s, of course, first we run 3 Nanimons because it is a security Digimon and it's a 3-cost level 4. So potentially you could just make a Nightmon and swing with it. So it's pretty nice. Yeah. Then we run, of course, the 4 Skull Nightmons. because Skull Knightmon is really cool. For anybody that doesn't know what it does, its effect is really cool. When attacking, you may trash all the sources of one of your deadly Axemons and place it at the bottom of this Digimon sources to like basically just evolve into DarkKnightmon for free. So if you have DarkKnightmon and Deadly Axe on the field, you can just basically auto evolve into it when attacking, kind of like how Green Hybrid can just skip into an Ancient, but instead you don't have to pay a cost. So it's more kind of like Green Gacha in a way, which is really cool. And then of course, because his if your guy is Nightmon or Bagramon, you basically get a security +1, so you're guaranteed to be swinging into security for 2 if you evolve, which is really nice. And of course, being a 4-cost drop, he's actually really cheap to summon. He's essentially the same cost as a rookie, which is probably why he's only 3,000 attack, but it's really nice just summoning him out. Then we run the 4 Deadly Axemons. Deadly Axemon kind of looks kind of lame by comparison compared to him but the thing is that this guy does have an on-play effect where you can reveal the top 5 cards and add up to 2 cards with Nightmon and their names among them to the hand, which is really nice because then you can search Skull Knightmon and DarkKnightmon. And essentially, he's also kind of like the Boko of the group. Plus, if Knightmon has him in the sources, he gains 2,000. So essentially, you're pushing your Knightmon to at least 9,000. And in the hybrid format, 9,000 is pretty big. So you can basically swing through most of their security. So really nice. And then for the last level 4s, we run the 2 Grumblemons, for quick evolution for games because it's a hybrid. And then 2 Mechanoris to kind of stall out the game, especially if they're trying to swarm you with rookies. That's all the level 4s we run. The deck essentially focuses on these guys, but it's also because of a certain option card that came in the set is why a lot of the guys are very low cost guys, because essentially the only one that can't be procced off of it is this guy, but the rest can, which is really nice. Let's actually get into level 5s. We don't really run that many level 5s. We only run one, and that is specifically for DarkKnightmons. DarkKnightmon, for anybody who doesn't know what he does, on play, you can place a Skull Knightmon and a Deadly Axemon into this guy's sources in any order, and the fact that if your opponent puts you to 3, you can just hard play this, put them at 4, and then you have a guy that is going to swing for 2 security and 9,000, so they have to get rid of it. And then the best part is that all turns, if this guy were to essentially die, he can just resummon both Skull Knightmon and Deadly Axe onto the field. Basically they get brought back suspended, but the fact is that you still have a board maintained no matter what, even if you have this guy. So just leveling, even just a normal level up into him, it doesn't really matter to your deck because you could just continuously just keep going, which is pretty sweet how that works. Yeah, but that's all the level 5s we run. And then for level 6s, I'm still testing this out. I'm still wondering if the D Brigade engine could be used in this, but for now it's kind of a pure build. So I'm running 2 Metal Garurumons. So that way, if DarkKnightmon doesn't die after the swing, I basically just Digivolve him into this, and then I basically pop another security, and then I reboot, which is really nice. This guy is still really good even to this day. It's just not that many people have been utilizing him enough, so I kind of want to just bring this guy back because he's just really like an awesome card. Yeah, but that's all the Digimon in the deck. The rest are options and tamers. So for options, of course, because this deck runs stuff that is 4 cost or less, you basically run 4 Prime Memory boosts. This card is actually really busted, and it actually speeds up both D Brigade and this deck because essentially when you activate it, you get to reveal the top 3 cards and play any black Digimon with a play cost of 4 or less, which is basically most of your deck aside from the level 5s and the hybrid. So you basically get to just play something for free and then get a memory boost next turn to set up another thing next turn. And the fact is that even if it's in security, you still get a memory booster. So it's really nice. Like having this at 4 is insane, and it's just so broken how it works in conjunction with the whole deck. So yeah, and then we run 3 Breath of the Gods. This card is actually really bonkers because if you combo it properly, you could potentially keep your board and just basically not have it die whatsoever. And the cool thing is that essentially with this and DarkKnightmon, you can essentially combo it. So either he reboots, or you basically turn either the Skull Knightmon or the Deadly Axemon into a reboot guy, and then you could just save them for next turn, and then you just bring back a, like for example, if you have a guy already here, you basically get to make Deadly Axemon, and then you push him out, and then you get to just basically make another DarkKnightmon again. And the fact that Insecurity just basically stops your opponent from swinging for game, which is really nice, which is why I run three. I actually bought I think about 10 or 15 of these cards back when they were super cheap, and now I'm super glad that they're finally getting use in my deck. So I'm glad to put these in. Then we run the 2 Iron Onslaught. I'm still kind of iffy on this card because a lot of cards have a way to get around deletion now. So I kind of want to switch this to an Ultimate Flare, and most likely will. So either this or an Ultimate Flare is fine. But having 2 removal cards is really nice because there are decks that you will have to use it on. And then that's basically all the option cards. We don't really run that many. This is actually kind of a very lean amount. We have like the, let's say 7, like we have 9 option cards, but it's not too bad. Then for Tamers, we of course run the 3 Izzies and the 2 Izzy and Joes. This is to basically just kind of force your opponent to mainly play one guy because then they have to play around this or just give you more memory to set up all this. So it's really nice. This kind of forces them to do kind of your play style rather than what they're planning to do. And then Izzy, of course, lets you kind of stack the deck. So then you can stack it so you get DarkKnightmon or the fact that he's also a memory setter. So you basically are guaranteed 3 memories. So you can just set up everything and put them to 1 no matter what. So it's really nice how in conjunction it works with the deck. But yeah, this is my DarkKnightmon Rush deck. Essentially, this is still a very rough build. It's kind of like a template, as I've mentioned, for a lot of these decks. This is just my initial build, and it will be changed over time, depending on how playtesting goes and what stuff I have to deal with in my locals, meta, basically. But so far, the deck actually works really well against a lot of decks. Honestly, this deck hard destroys yellow because it just goes so fast that it can't really do anything. And the fact that you put so many guys on board, it takes them way too long to essentially catch up with you, even if they're just healing. You can potentially kind of like memory choke them as well and kind of stop them from doing stuff. And this does outspeed green in slight ways. It's not super powerful. Like as long as they don't get their tamers or they can only get one hybrid out, you're basically safe to just kind of keep swinging. And then even if they kill your DarkKnightmon or something, you get to just basically get your board back no matter what. So it's really decent against that. Against blue, it might have a bit of issue because you do need sources, but at the same time, you don't need them at this in certain instances. So it's kind of a hit or miss. It's just depending on how the matchup goes and how you draw. So it's just with every deck, it has at least a decent matchup with most of the tier 1 meta decks, which is why I'm kind of wondering why not that many people have been playing this, because this deck has a lot of potential to top. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the deck, and I'll see you guys next time.